Next day at the square. Thanks for that, I say with a quick smile at the cashier, grabbing up my drink and snack and turning to head out of the store. At this time in the evening, there are fewer people about, and it makes it easier to shop when you don't have to queue. Also, I just needed a break from the office for a while. Light still gleams from the cobblestones, the afternoon warmth refusing to leave the air just yet. As I make my way back to the station, I sidestep to avoid crashing into a bike someone has left balanced against one of the shop walls. Small bursts of violet flowers spill out of the shop's window box and engulf the bike's handlebars, looking very picturesque, but I can just imagine how difficult untangling that mess will be for whoever the owner is. Lost in thought, I don't notice when a large shadow creeps up beside me. It's only when I shiver that I realize the light has faded. I swing around. Well, hello there, Jules. Bra purrs with a smile. The rest of Unit Bravo step up to join her moments later, and I shake myself out of my surprise. I was expecting you guys earlier, I reply. Did you find out anything about. My voice trails off, and I step closer in order not to be overheard, though there is no one around us. The illness? Unfortunately, very little, Ava replies. Little? Farah bursts out, rocking on her heels. Make that nothing. Zip, nada, no. Ava stares down at Farah. We understand the concept. Farah grins. We know it started up a few days ago with just a couple of cases and then spread fast. Morgan adds in a rather matter of fact tone. I run my free hand through my hair and sigh. Ah, great. Nat shuffles a step closer. Maybe we should return to your office and discuss our next move in a comfier environment? You call that place comfy? Farah asks with a scoff. Nat sighs and then smiles at me. Yeah, I reply eventually. Let's go. The five of us head off down the street, shoes clacking over the cobblestones as we cross the road and stroll through the grassy green that takes up the middle of the square. Its large hazel tree, emblazoned with vibrant new growth, spreads over us. My foot hits the curb on the other side, and then I freeze. On the opposite street, standing in the doorway of the post office, is the compact, grey suited figure of Mayor Friedman. You know I don't like waiting, Charlie. This order should have been delivered days ago. After his rant, he starts to swing around, and I just know he'll see me. Hmm, hide me. My head flicks around as I desperately search for a hiding place. Hide me. My plea puts a confused frown on all of their faces. Excuse me? Ava asks. Hide me, I repeat. Please. Detective, isn't it your duty to deal with those in your community? Nat asks, sounding more amused than sincere. Especially those in such prominent positions. I don't even bother asking how they know just who the mayor is. Come on, guys, can't you just. Oh, what a splendid surprise! The mayor's voice booms across the square like a foghorn. Immediately, the four vampires twist around to face the oncoming man while shuffling close together to form a wall in front of me, hiding me as I'd asked. Swallowing down the relieved sigh I want to let out, I crouch down a little behind the team so as to be fully hidden from view. This doesn't work. Mayor Friedman, Nat replies in a tone so charming I just know the mayor will be smiling from ear to ear. It's so good to see you again. I've been hoping to see you all again after Rebecca introduced us so briefly those weeks ago, the mayor says. That suddenly explains a lot. I peek through the gaps between the members of Unit Bravo and glimpse the mayor standing directly before them. I don't think he'd have noticed me anyway, going by the excited gaze he lays on each member of Unit Bravo. For a man of advancing years, the mayor is still sturdy and able. His shoulders are held back proudly, and his chin has an upwards tilt that seems stuck in place from years of staring down his broad nose at people. His pink-tinged skin has paled over the years. His full head of white hair is cut short and styled back from his face, revealing the age spots that prickle around the edges of his scalp. Glasses sit firmly on the bridge of his nose, widening his small eyes. They seem even smaller from beneath his heavy brow, dragged down further by deep-set wrinkles. And where are you all off to? He asks after a moment. To speak with Detective Langford, Ava replies. I see, Mayor Friedman responds slowly. I hope they have been cooperative with whatever you've been needing. Most cooperative, Nat says. We've grown into a close relationship with Detective Langford. So close, in fact, Farah chimes in. It almost feels like they're right here with us. I bite my lip to stop myself from making a comment. The mayor hesitates, then eventually starts again. Well, if you need anything that can't be provided by the limited resources of the station, do not hesitate to contact me personally. Your presence here is such a boon to our small town. A boon for this town, or just a boon for you? Ava asks with a surprising amount of snark. Nat laughs to cover the sudden awkwardness from the comments. I'm sure Agent Langford will be delighted to hear of your continued support in our efforts here, Mayor. A shudder wiggles its way through me at that. Mayor Friedman has always had rather too close of a personal interest in Rebecca. I hope so, I truly do. He sighs wistfully. Well, I guess I should leave you to your business. Yes, very good. Until next time. Nat is the only one who waves the mayor off. The group then wait a few more moments before swinging around to face me. Thanks, I squeak out. Ava rolls her eyes. We should leave. Yeah, I reply, brushing down my clothes and striding out faster than necessary to make sure I'm not seen. In my office at the station. I'm just settling into my seat behind my desk when Douglas waddles in through the doorway. He barely takes notice of Unit Bravo spread about the room in their usual places. A message came in for you at the front desk, he says. Can you hold it for me? I ask. The boy sighs, his whole body sagging. Not really. I roll my eyes. Fine, lead the way. I stand up and head out, telling the team, I'll be back in a minute. Most of the vampires nod at me, though Morgan favors ignoring me instead. In the office, Farah practically throws herself into the chair opposite the detective's desk, the piece of furniture rocking wildly before deciding not to tip over and take the young vampire with it. Ah, it's good to be back here. She fidgets and frowns. Can't say I missed these chairs, though. It's nice to return, Nat says with a smile. Her focus shifts about the room with the wistful expression of someone experiencing fond memories. It may not have been under the best circumstances, but I'm glad to have met and be working with the detective for good now. As long as we actually get to do something. Morgan begins, already with one hip perched against the nearby side table. I don't care where we do it. That's the spirit, Morgan, Farah says with sarcasm dripping from each word. Morgan barely lifts her top lip in a sneer. Even with the conversation, Farah remains far too enamored with Jules. Her focus drifts easily away from the rest of the team and out through the glass partition to the station beyond. The detective is standing at the front desk. Their body is hunched over the faux marble top, creating an attractive arch to their frame that Farah follows with her eyes. As appealing as Jules is, a small bubble of disappointment flitters inside of Farah that they haven't had a real chance to spend time together. Alone. Without the chaperoning presence of disapproving Ava or overprotective Nat. Got your eyes on a goal? Morgan asks, voice husky from the cigarette she'd smoked not long before. Farah sighs. Jules is not a goal. Then why are you staring at them so intently? She asks, then rolls her eyes. Please don't tell me you actually want to date them. Morgan emphasizes her disgust of the word by almost spitting it out. Would that really be so bad? Morgan leans against the desk and stares down at Farah, who's still sagged over her chair. Your choice, but I can't see it going down well with Ava. They both shift to look at the team leader, who's standing so tensely by the window, it's a wonder she doesn't just turn to stone. Ava can't control my life, Farah replies. You know she's not trying to control you, Farah, she says in a softer tone. Only protect you. Farah groans. Yeah, I know, but I think I want this. She looks back at Jules. A lot. All right, Morgan says. But it'll get messy. I mean, if you take my advice on it, it would get messy too, but at least in a fun way. When Farah meets her gaze, Morgan's usual frown turns into a smile with a chuckle. Thanks, Farah says. Morgan shrugs, and then they both look up as they hear the detective returning. Heading into my office. With the phone call made, I head back into my office and push open the door. Sorry for the interruption. My voice trails off as I notice Farah and Morgan huddled together, their gazes trained on me. Something going on? Nothing, Farah says, sitting up straighter and nudging Morgan away. Morgan obliges by turning to her usual place in the corner. Okay, I reply in an uncertain tone. Now you're done out there, are you going to be focusing on us again? Farah asks, followed by the usual wink. I merely give a nod to the answer, but as I look at Farah, my whole body seems to sway. Emotions whirl around me and overtake the tingles of excitement from her teasing questions. This is something much more than simple flirting. Even Farah seems to be affected by the sensation, which is intense but not at all unpleasant. She shifts in her seat. If you're ready, then we'll proceed, Ava says, cutting through the moment. Yes, I reply, clearing my throat and trying to find my focus again. Of course. With a final glance at Farah, who still seems to be unable to look away from me, I turn to face Ava with a nod. Quiet fills the air as I move to sit behind my desk. Amazingly, the surface is pretty clear of paperwork or messages. That should make this meeting go a little smoother, since I won't be fighting to talk to them over a mountain of files. My chair lets out a small groan as I sit in it, but I ignore it and arch forward, my arms leaning on my desk. It's not even a second before there's a familiar hiss of a lighter being lit. I glance over at Morgan. She has a cigarette balanced between her lips and is drawing the lighter closer to the end of it. I stand from my chair, pressing my hands on my desk and hunching over it. I'll get the extinguisher if you don't put that out. Morgan turns her sharp gaze on me, examining me for a long moment before nodding and flicking the unlit cigarette into the nearby bin. I almost collapse back into my seat in shock. Geez, detective, Fra says in just as much surprise. You really must be growing on her. Morgan gives a growl of warning, but Farah only grins wider. With that resolved, I settle further behind my desk to glance over the team. It's not long before Farah fills the silence. So, detective. Go on. You're looking very comfortable lording it over the station now. Looks like you were born into it. My gaze drops at her words, a small, almost silent chuckle leaving at me. Maybe I was. I glance back up to find them all staring at me. My father was a detective in Wayhaven too. He was? Rob blurts out. I forgot you even have a dad. Rebecca never said anything. So where is he? Can we meet him? I straighten in my seat. He died. The room falls into a heavy silence. I'm sorry to hear that, Ava says in the gentlest tone I've ever heard her use. I give a nod of thanks, not needing to say anything further. What happened to him? Bra asks. Bra! Nat berates her. Bra stares at Nat. What? I was just wondering. He was on duty, I explain, hoping to ease the tension. He was protecting a family from a gang who had their sights set on Wayhaven. He gave his life to make sure those people lived. A good man, Ava says without reservation. Hmm. I'm not sure what to say in reply to that, so instead I just give a non-committal nod. It seems it's enough to dissuade any further talk on that topic as the room falls into another uneasy silence. So, this law enforcement stuff really does run in your blood, Bra says as a statement. Hmm. My gaze drops to my wrists. I'm not sure if it's my imagination, but it's almost like I can feel the blood beating through the veins. I wish things would stop running in my blood that I don't want there, I admit. Nat shuffles forward and catches my attention. Many things have been placed on you that shouldn't have been, but at least it meant you met us. Bra adds, some seeming to want to lighten the mood. I try to smile at that. So what about you lot? I ask. Morgan glances up. What about us? How did you all join the agency? I clarify, clasping my hands behind my neck and waiting for a reply. There have to be some good stories there. Oh, I joined the agency the second they asked, Bra says. I fell through one of the barriers that separates the Echo world and this world, and then, poof, I was made an agent. Nat angles her head over to look at Farah. That's not exactly how it happened. Close enough, Farah replies with a shrug. More exciting than her story, anyhow. She flicks a finger out towards Ava. A sly smile then cuts across her face. Not as interesting as yours, though. Nat tenses. It's an odd look on Nat, her shoulders bunched up around her ears and an uneasy frown on her face when normally she's so laid back. For a moment she almost resembles Ava. What happened? I ask. Nat turns away. Nothing of importance. I was not brought into the agency to be an agent, but more that they saved me. You are on the edge of a comatose state from what I hear, Bra adds, though she seems to have lost a little interest in the conversation as she begins picking at the denim of her skinny jeans. Nat's fists ball at her sides and the flash of pain streaks across her face. Ava steps closer to Nat, unhidden worry making her reach out. Bri's right. Our stories are less than exciting. I said yours was. I didn't say. Bra's words stumbled to a stop at the rumbled growl of warning from Ava. Ava glancing at Nat, who gives a tense smile and a nod and then turns back to me. I was brought in not long after the agency became a more organized formal group. I'd heard rumors of them and went searching. It thankfully didn't take me long to find them. My body jerks back a little in surprise. That must have been a long time ago, yes. Ava almost smiles. My gaze shifts in Morgan's direction before I can stop myself. She glares at me. I'm the same as Nat. The agency saved you? They rescued me, yeah. And that's apparently the only answer I'm going to get. Before I can ask for further details, a high-pitched squeal rips through the station. What the? Ava begins before storming through my office and out into the foyer. I leap out of my chair to follow. The group of us cram through the door in a crush as another squeal cuts through the relative quiet that had fallen over the building. My heart, which had been hammering in my chest, drops to a slow thud once more as I see the source of the sound. I let out a long breath to calm the rush of adrenaline.
Sorry, Detective.
Verda says, smiling in apology while doing his best to wrangle his oldest daughter back to his side.
We've just come from the carnival, and Kara is a little hyper on sugar.
The glass doors to the station swing open once again as Verda's husband... Wait, what? Wait, but Verda... Wait, is Verda a man or not? I just assumed throughout all of this. I mean, they could have a same-sex marriage. That'd be completely fine. But okay, sure. I just like to. No, Verda's definitely a man. I would have realized if he wasn't much earlier. Okay. As Verda's husband, Eric steps inside. He's cradling the youngest. But why do they have children? I mean, they could have adopted them. That's fine. He's cradling the youngest child asleep in his arms. Are we going to be long, Saul? Not sure how much longer Lacey will stay asleep. Verda looks back at him and shakes his head.
No, I just need to grab some papers from Tina's desk.
Eric is much taller and broader than Verda, as well as a lot softer around the edges. He looks very much the part of stylish dad in light blue kino pants and the crumpled white shirt he's decided to wear. It complements his sun-kissed skin and waves of hair as blonde as Marilyn Monroe's. His rounded cheeks become even more so as he smiles over at me. Hello, Detective Langford. It's been a while. Kara spins on the spot and then tumbles over, almost banging into me as she tries to refind her balance while shrieking in delight once again. She's so sticky. The girl crashes into my legs, seeming a little dazed as she shoves herself away and stares up at me. I offer a grin and then nod my head towards the kitchen area, where Tina likes to keep a dish filled with chocolate for everyone at the station. There's even better candy in the bowl over there. Her eyes widen so much I think they might pop out, then she's off at the speed of a lightning bolt.
Must you?
Verda asks me, followed by a long sigh. Eric gives a bright laugh. We'll let Kara have her fun for the night, Saul. The young girl speeds back after a moment, her hands now stained with chocolate and most of it smeared over her face too. Is Soul just Eric's nickname for Verda, or is it like Verda his last name and Soul his first name, or the other way around? I don't know. Whatever. As Verda continues to search through Tina's desk, an almost impossible task with the mess piled on it, so they are in a same-sex relationship. Or marriage. Fine. His daughter's attention turns on Morgan with curiosity sparkling in her small eyes. You look... Wait, who is that? I was not paying attention. His daughter's attention turns on Morgan. But who? Oh, that's Kara. You look angry, she says. Bra almost explodes with laughter at her comment. Morgan merely sneers. I am. Why? She asks, stepping even closer. Morgan watches her movements carefully. Didn't your parents warn you about talking to strangers? Yeah. She continues to look up at her. Go away, she says, making a shooing motion with one hand. Go bother someone else. Kara seems to think over that for a moment, then her focus wanders and she takes off to speed around the office once more, letting out a loud "Whee!" as she goes. That was friendly, Nat whispers in sarcastic reprimand. What did you want me to do? Sing her a lullaby? Play Ring Around the Rosie? Morgan snarks.
Oh,
Berta explains, whipping up a piece of paper and waving it in the air.
found it.
Good. Eric shifts the sleeping girl in his arms and then tries to catch his other daughter. I think Kara's probably overstayed her welcome for the evening. Verda moves around the desks to head back to his family.
Hopefully tonight will have been enough that they won't want to go back to carnival again. We've gone every night since its arrival.
My amused smile at the scene slowly drops as thoughts whirl in the back of my mind. A suspicion I hadn't noticed lingering there is now twirling as fast as Kara, and it flies into the front of my focus. How long? I ask suddenly. Verda raises a brow.
Pardon?
How long has the carnival been in town?
3, maybe 4 days.
Spinning on my heel, I storm back into my office and sit down in my chair so fast it almost falls over. My monitor flickers to life and my fingers smash the keys on the keyboard in desperation. What is it? Nat asks as she follows me, the rest of Unit Bravo trailing behind her. I twist my monitor around to face them. I knew that Carnival had no permit. I didn't bother checking because I've been so focused on our other issues. I hope they get him talking about the spreading sickness. Which coincidentally happened at the exact same time as the Carnival, huh? They all glance at one another, obviously not connecting the dots of my adult thoughts, but gradually each of them gives an understanding nod, with the exception of Farah, who continues to stare at me blankly. Ava closes the door to the office so as we won't be overheard. So? Um, Let's see, I say, placing my fingers on my chin and pouting in mock thought. The carnival turns up. People get sick the next day. I wonder what possible connection I could be making here. Oh, Farah says and then breaks into a smile. I get where you're going with this now. Morgan huffs out a breath. About time. Farah leans against the door frame with her arms crossed. But a creepy carnival? That's a bit obvious, isn't it? Not if you aren't aware that the supernatural actually exists, Nat replies. If it's just a theory, then we need to be certain before taking any further action, Ava adds, obviously seeing the merit in my idea. We can't raise their suspicions with a full agency intervention if it is them. It could just be a carnival with appalling organization and paperwork skills after all. Fra instantly perks up. You mean... Her breath escapes her in a short gasp. We get to go undercover? Not all of us. That would bring too much attention, Nat suggests. Ava lets out a long sigh. But yes, we'll have to go undercover. Bra's excited gaze flashes around to meet mine, and I suddenly get the feeling I know who exactly she plans on suggesting for the mission. Next chapter.